Welcome to the Great Debate Show. I'm your host, your favorite unk in the world, Uncle JJ. And as always, I got something to say. I want to talk about Joe Burrow and his mixed signals today. All the things that he's been talking about. I can't see myself leaving Cincinnati. Yeah, I've thought about it. What are you telling us, Joe? Now, I've told you a week ago, a couple days ago, there's a video up on my YouTube channel right now. Good content. It's on the TikTok, my TikTok account too. If you check my profile, good content where I'm talking about Joe Burrow and how this is all about to come to an end in Cincinnati. Tua got benched. Tua Tagovailoa. He got benched, and now Quinn Ewers is going to be the starting quarterback for the rest of the season for the Miami Dolphins. Tua has been benched, and he's not only not the starting quarterback, he is not even the backup quarterback. He is going to be the emergency third string quarterback. We're going to talk about that. But I feel validated because I said for about 2 or 3 years now, all of these quarterbacks that are getting paid these huge contracts just because they're next in line to get paid, I've been saying, you don't need to do that. Fuck the market. This is the reason why I say F the market. Tua Tagovailoa gets paid $54 million per. He just recently signed a $212 million deal in 2024. And at the end of 2025 season, he's benched. That's why I say fuck the market. You can't pay everybody just because they're next in line. I didn't even want my Niners to pay Brock Purdy $53 per. I did not think that he was good enough for that contract. Now, the past 4 weeks, he has definitely proved that he is worth every penny. But that was against the Arizona Cardinals, the Carolina Panthers, who he was bad against, the Cleveland Browns, and the Tennessee Titans. These are 3 out of those 4 teams are like at the bottom and have the worst schedules in the National Football League. Now, if he does that against the Colts on Monday night, against the Bears, and against the Seahawks defense, then that's a different story. Maybe he is worth every penny. But, Tua is a prime example of why I say F the market. You don't pay these quarterbacks. And I want to start with Joe Burrow first before I get back to Tua, because I got some things to say about Tua. I just said the other day places that he could go to, and Bleacher Report came out with a report last night that basically had their number 1 team that he could go to as a landing spot, the Arizona Cardinals. They're saying that he could do it. I said maybe you could. I suggested the Cardinals and the Dolphins swap quarterbacks. Maybe Kyler Murray goes to Miami. Could Mike McDaniel work with that if he's still the head coach? And maybe the Cardinals go get Tua. I don't think either one of those guys are good. I don't think either one of those quarterbacks should have gotten a contract. And that's why I say fuck the market. You do not pay these guys just because they're next in line. And I know there's somebody out there trolling me right now saying, well, who are you going to replace them with? I don't know. That's not my fucking job. But I wouldn't, as a general manager, if I was one, I would not pay those guys if I don't think they're worthy of that type of contract. I'll just keep penny pinching, or I don't want to turn into the Pittsburgh Steelers where I'm renting a new quarterback every year, but I'm not going to give a big contract like that for the future for a quarterback that I don't think is worthy of it. And Tua Tagovailoa, in my opinion, was never worthy of it. And that's why he's benched. Before I get to Joe Burrow, back on speaking on Tua Tagovailoa, not only did he get benched, there's the reports coming out now that Tua could cost, if they cut Tua, it could cost them $99 million. That would be the largest dead money hit in NFL history if it's done before June the 1st. What do y'all think about that? Mikey, what's up, man? He says, good morning, Grand Rising King. I hope you're doing well, and thank you for joining me. This is the Great Debate Show. And I'm Uncle JJ, and as always, I got something to say. Tua being benched, this could be the end for him in Miami. More than likely, he played his final game Monday night. Joe Burrow sending mixed signals. He's basically hollering out to other teams, I want out. I want out. Please, somebody come get me. And I also want to talk about the Tennessee Titans and their head coaching search. Nobody's really talking about that. Cam Ward, as a rookie this year, did not meet the expectations that I expected, but he has a terrible supporting cast. Besides Tony Pollard every other week with some good running, they haven't been good. He wasn't protected well. He doesn't have wide receivers. Was his mechanics a little off? Yeah, but I saw in the past few weeks that he will be fine if they just put the right stuff around him. And Cam Ward said yesterday that he would like to be in the room, in the office, at the table when they start doing these interviews for a head coach for the Tennessee Titans. Could it be Mike McCarthy? Could it be offensive coordinator in Buffalo, Joe Brady? Could it be Cliff Kingsbury? Which, now, you know what? I'm not even hearing Cliff Kingsbury's name anymore. But I've heard Notre Dame, what's his name? Freeman, the head coach at Notre Dame. Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Amp Poodle 22, thank you for coming back, and thank you for the roses. JPL, what's up? I am blessed. He should have been benched since week 4, says King Mikey, talking about Tua Tagovailoa. I got Finger in the building. Ian Cass Finger says, hello. Hi, how you doing? Hope you and your fam are doing well. We are. And thank you, man. Congrats on 1K. Yeah, I reached the 1K finally on YouTube. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. And yeah, so I'm talking about Tua right now, and read a few more comments before I get to it. The Titans get a wide receiver in the first round, or they get Jay Love, running back from Notre Dame. He did declare for the draft just the other day. I saw that. Good comment, Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, I want to talk about the Titans and what head coach they're going to get, because you could go defense. Robert Saleh is a name that's starting to get hot. He's getting some buzz right now around the league. We said that he would probably be one and done in San Francisco. The Niners are 10-4. The defense isn't that good, but he's making it work with these young rookies and these, players that are not really developed. They're not that good. And we had a ton of injuries on the defense. So without the heartbeat of the defense, Fred Warner, and without Nick Bosa and a lot of more people, he's still going to get a nod. Like, people are going to say he did that with that. He did this with that. So Robert Saleh is also a head coaching candidate for the Titans. I think they should go offense. Mike McCarthy is a good bridge head coach. Let me finish with Tua, and I'm going to get back to the Titans. If the Patriots are smart next year, add an additional receiving tight end to get pressure off of Hunter Henry. Good comment, Benner. The Titans hire Eric Bieniemy as head coach. Now, I would love that shit, Sonic. I was just speaking on my last episode about Eric Bieniemy and why the Kansas City Chiefs offense has had such a complete downfall, because Eric Bieniemy left Kansas City for whatever reason. Maybe he thought he was going to be Andy Reid's successor and he was going to take over. And Andy Reid told him, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. He left, and he went to Washington for 1 year under Ron Rivera. They didn't really like his coaching methods, this generation, these YNs. They just I don't know. They didn't like his hard, tough coaching. And he wasn't there but a year, I believe. He went to college, I want to say UCLA or something. He was an assistant there. Now he's back in the NFL. I think he's like a running back coach or something like that with the Chicago Bears. Eric Bieniemy would be a good pick. He never gets named as a candidate. He never gets mentioned. I don't understand it. But his offense and his game plan and his creativity, the schemes and everything, the passing concepts that they used to do in Kansas City. I know Kelsey was still in his prime. Tyreek Hill was still there. I get it. But if he was still there now, you couldn't tell me the Chiefs' offense would not look better than it does under Matt Nagy. If Matt Nagy gets that Tennessee head coaching job, I would leave the Titans alone for the rest of my life if I was a Titan fan. I don't understand why anybody would hire Matt Nagy. The Chiefs' offense sucks, and he's responsible for most of it. Is Worthy that dude? No, it doesn't look like it. Rashee Rice? No, not really. I know the talent isn't there, but Eric Bieniemy, if he was still there, I guarantee you would see a much better offense. That's a great comment, Sonic. What's up, Caleb? Thank you for joining, and thank you for the rose and the number 2 gifter badge. Caleb says, what's up, you? I hope all is well with y'all, man. Nagy ruined the Bears. He sure did. And he's ruining the Chiefs right now. I don't know. These head coaches have to stop hiring people based off of relationships, personal things. I just don't understand it. What's up, Levi? How's life? He said, hello, how's life? Life is good. I'm alive, brother. I'm alive. Thank you, though, for asking. What's up to Drew McCormick? He says hello. How you doing, Drew? Drew says, I'm a Cowboys fan, but Buffalo Bills are winning the championship. Yeah, I was speaking on that. Some people are saying for Josh Allen, it's Super Bowl or bust. Just because Patrick Mahomes won't be in the playoffs. Just because Lamar Jackson may not be in the playoffs. And Joe Burrow for a third straight year will not be in the playoffs. I beg to differ because, come on, man. I mean, yes, Buffalo has Josh Allen, and yes, he's good, but Buffalo still is not that good of a football team. They are as good as Josh Allen and James Cook allow them to be. As far as they can carry them, that's how far they're going to go. And they don't have any receivers. They don't have, their defense is very suspect. They'll make a play every now and then, but when you see greatness, sorry about that, it's because of, I lost my train of thought. It's because of Josh Allen being Superman, putting that cape on. And that's it. I don't think it's Super Bowl or bust for Buffalo just because those other quarterbacks are not in the playoffs this year. I don't see that at all. The Dallas Mavericks are going to explore a Klay Thompson trade. They're considering a move, and I think they're going to trade Anthony Davis too, even though they said they wouldn't. I just saw that pop up on my screen. The Mavs are not turning out to be what I thought. The Dallas Mavericks was like one of my top 3 teams to go to the NBA Finals this year, outside of OKC repeating, Houston Rockets, Denver Nuggets, and then the Dallas Mavericks. I had them like a top 4 seed. Well, not a top 4 seed, but I had them like being one of the top 4 teams when we got to the playoffs. But because of Kyrie being out for most of the year, I thought that they would sneak in at like 7 or 8. This has just been devastating for the Mavs, and it looks like they're going to blow this thing up and, just do something completely different from what Nico Harrison did. But back to Buffalo. Josh Allen is not Super Bowl or bust. Is this the best time and the perfect time for him to get to the Super Bowl? Yes. But with the Houston Texans, #1 defense, and you saw what they did to them on a Monday night about a month ago. And the Denver Broncos, another top 5, top 3 defense. The New England Patriots, yes, they split with them, but they were down 21-0. And they had to have 5 straight possessions where they scored touchdowns. They're capable of doing that, but that's because of Superman. But he may only can take them so far. And that's all I'm saying. If Josh Allen doesn't get to the Super Bowl this year, I'm not going to be pleased with anyone saying it was Super Bowl or bust and he failed again. Oh, he's not a playoff guy. He's a regular season quarterback. Where are people getting that from? Josh is the best quarterback in the football in football right now, and I don't think it's close. Okay, again, if Tua got cut by June 1, it would cost the Dolphins $99 million. $99 million. The Titans should get Eric Bieniemy. I want to say that again. They should go get Eric Bieniemy, Joe Brady, the OC in Buffalo, or Mike McCarthy, if we're speaking offense. Another head coaching candidate that is being mentioned is Anthony Weaver. Anthony Weaver was an assistant coach under Kyle Shanahan some years back with my 49ers. He spent some time in Baltimore, and he is currently, where is he at right now? Damn. Anthony Weaver. Hold on one second, because there's a few things that I wanted to say about him. And even though he's a defensive guy, he could be just as good of he's with the Dolphins. He's the Dolphins DC right now, okay? I know you're saying, and? But the Dolphins defense didn't play that bad, especially after trading a few people away. They've had injuries. Anthony Weaver is a guy who may not be the best signal caller or whatever, but he's a leader. A lot of people are saying that, the players buy into what he's doing and he can lead men. Now, if that's the case, some of the things that I'm hearing about Anthony Weaver is the same thing I heard about Mike Vrabel before he took the job with the Patriots. Hell, actually, before he even took the Titans job. Mike Vrabel was the defensive coordinator with the Houston Texans some years back, and he took over for a couple of years after Romeo Crennel stepped down or took another position back in Houston when they had Bill O'Brien or whatever his name was, that dude back then who got them to the postseason every year, and they would win a wild card game from winning the boring, bad AFC South. Anyway, I digress. Anthony Weaver is a guy that reminds me a lot of Mike Vrabel, because he may not be, the stats may not look like you want them to see, like they're not a top 10 defense. Neither was the Texans when Mike Vrabel was their defensive signal caller. But he can lead men, and these players play hard for him, and they buy into what he's selling, and they just really look up to him. Those type of player coaches that just really can just like really motivate the whole team. They've got that energy and they're ready to go bust their ass for this dude because they love him. They like what he's doing and they want to play hard for him and they want him to be a winner. He's got that mentality from what I'm hearing about him. Anthony Weaver, defensive coordinator with the Miami Dolphins. Everything that I'm hearing about him reminds me of Mike Vrabel, where just because they're not the #1 defense doesn't mean like he won't be able to head coach a 53-man roster. And he got to Tennessee and he had some success. Don't forget, they didn't have a real franchise quarterback. They had Ryan Tannehill, who had somewhat of a resurgence. They had King Henry in the backfield. For a minute, they had A.J. Brown. He made the most of it. The defense was not all that, but it was decent. And he led those guys to a few playoff wins. And, then Mike Vrabel is a good coach. And we see that now. He may be coach of the year. He's taken the New England Patriots to a #1, #2 seed in the AFC. I'm not telling you that that's what Anthony Weaver would do if he got the Titans head coaching job, but it could happen because I'm hearing that he is very good with these players and they really do buy into what he's selling. And then on top of that, anybody that Kyle Shanahan has had on his coaching staff, as critical as I am of him, they usually turn out to be just fine. And I think Anthony Weaver could be another good candidate for the Tennessee Titans. So I'll say the Dolphins DC, Anthony Weaver, the Bills OC, Joe Brady, Mike McCarthy. Those are the three people that I would be looking at. And I think that if you go with the offense, it needs to be for Cam Ward's benefit. Somebody that, and Mike McCarthy is that guy. Not for long term, but let's be real. 3 straight years, the Cowboys were 12-5, and you got some of the best production out of Dak Prescott while Mike McCarthy was there. So I think Mike McCarthy would be good for Cam Ward. Maybe not for the next 5 to 7 years, but for the next 2 years, he'd be a great bridge coach because I think that's what he is, a bridge head coach. You want to get that structure. And then once you get that structure, then you could probably move on to a much better, younger, innovative offensive or defensive head coach that will be available. Yeah, that's what I would say. Anthony Weaver almost got the Chicago Bears head coaching job last year. He got beat out by Ben Johnson, which was a good decision by the Bears. But Anthony Weaver could be another guy if the Titans want to go defense. Robert Saleh would also be another candidate. All right, so I just wanted to talk about the Titans for a minute because I'm in Memphis, Tennessee, and people tell me I don't talk about this area enough. I'm a Niner fan, that's all, and I try to talk about everybody. But yeah, we got to give the Titans some love. If they can get in a good offensive coach and Cam Ward, who showed me last week against my Niners, he's got what it takes. He just needs a better supporting cast. The Titans can really blow up and come from worst to first just like that. They just got to protect that brother and get him some weapons. All right, so back to Tua. $99 million is what it would cost if they cut Tua before June the 1st. That would be the biggest, largest dead money hit in NFL history. Y'all, I told y'all Tua was not worthy of that contract when he got it. I used to tell people on Spotify, and this proves it right now. I was right. Fuck the market. You do not pay these quarterbacks just because they're next in line. You just don't. And just about a month ago, we were saying the same thing about Trevor Lawrence. Justin Herbert is much better than those guys, but he still ain't got a playoff win yet. These guys are getting paid, and they're not proving why they've gotten that money. That's all I'm saying. If Tua gets cut, what's next for Tua? I think he will probably go to the Arizona Cardinals because Kyler Murray is not going to be a Cardinal anymore. At least I don't think. And it seems like that's it for him. I suggested Tuesday, that they should swap quarterbacks, the Dolphins and the Cardinals. Do you think Kyler Murray would work out for Mike McDaniel in Miami? I'm not sure. I don't think either one of those quarterbacks are franchise quarterbacks. I think they're good bridge quarterbacks. But I'm going to give you 5 teams that Tua could go to. Starting at the bottom, number 5. If the Rams win the Super Bowl, Matt Stafford could hang it up. And if Matt Stafford done that, what about the LA Rams? Yeah, I could see the Dolphins trading him to the Rams, and the Rams would get Tua Tagovailoa, a 2027 6th-round pick, and maybe some salary compensation. And the Dolphins would get the 2027 4th-round pick. I think that would be pretty fair. If the Rams won the Super Bowl and Matt Stafford hung it up, Wouldn't it be great for Rams fans if they said, damn, we just won a Super Bowl, Matt Stafford retired, but look, we still got a quarterback. And now they would still probably draft a quarterback and let Tua be the bridge for a moment, but that wouldn't be a big fall. You know, if the Rams win the Super Bowl and Stafford retires, you would think it's going to be bad for another 5 to 10 years until we get our guy. But if they could go from Stafford retiring, a Super Bowl, him retiring, and go straight to a quarterback who is worthy of playing, he just isn't as good as some people might have thought he was, that wouldn't be a bad look. Number 4, what about the Indianapolis Colts? Okay, Daniel Jones just got injured. He probably won't be ready until like Halloween, Thanksgiving or something like that next season. He's a free agent. There's no guarantee they'll even sign him or tag him because they want to see how his rehab is going to go. Okay, thank y'all for those likes. Please keep hitting that heart button, the likes, and I encourage you all to share, like, and comment. Thank y'all so much. I'm going to get back to y'all comments in 1 second. What's up, brother? How you doing? Unreal. Thank you for joining me, man. What's up to Reggie? What's up to Sonic again? Tua should be a coach. That's who I'm saying right now. Sonic, I think he could be a coach because if Daniel Jones isn't there, which he won't be week 1 of 2026, what do? I would say, yeah, you probably would kick the tires on Tua Tagovailoa. And I think that the Colts could get Tua Tagovailoa and some salary compensation as well. The Dolphins will get a 2027 5th-round pick. That's what I think that's fair because this is a guy who got paid a lot of money, but he's been benched and now cut. You can't really demand another big contract or anything like that, and you can't really demand a high draft pick either. You take what you can get and you move on and cut your losses. If these were trades, this is what I would do as soon as the season ends instead of just releasing him or cutting him and taking that big-ass dead cap money. Okay, I would say the Colts, though, because, again, they don't know what they're going to do after this year. They're playing with a 44-year-old Grandpa Rivers right now. And, you know, they're not going back to Anthony Richardson, even though I think he's almost cleared to play. They washed their hands with him when they let Daniel Jones play. Somebody who we thought was washed or didn't have it. And then we saw that he's not bad. But he still isn't great. I would say Tua and the Colts would also be a good situation for now. This is a team that needs to keep going because they gave up a 1st-round pick for Sauce Gardner. Was it a 1st-round pick or was it 2 1st-round picks? I don't remember. It was 2 1st-round picks. So they ain't got time to stall. They need a quarterback quick and that's why teams shouldn't move so fast like the Colts did. They thought that we're ready. We're just a player away. We're just 1 trade away. But we started to find out as the season progressed, they really were not. Once you tuck away the running game, Daniel Jones started back to look like Daniel Jones even before he got injured. And I told you all the Colts will only go as far as Jonathan Taylor would take them. So I got the Rams at 5, the Colts at 4 on places for Tua Tagovailoa to land. Number 3, what about the New York Jets? I know they're in the same division, but if you think he's bad enough to cut, you're not worried about him going to the enemy, to the rival in the AFC East. Yeah, I would say the Jets would get Tua and a 2027 3rd-round pick and some salary compensation, and the Dolphins would get a 4th-round pick in 2027 in return. That's what I would say. The Jets need a quarterback. Justin Fields didn't work out. They're going to draft somebody probably. Will they get Mendoza, the Heisman Trophy winner? I'm not sure. How will Mendoza be in the NFL? I'm not sure. But this is somebody that they know is competent enough that can play. He's a veteran. He's seasoned. They just got to keep him upright, keep him healthy. And he's got to just be better and make better reads, and you got to give him talent. He would have Garrett Wilson, though. And if they can come up with a good draft and a good free agency, y'all, remember the Jets got a lot of bullets. They have a lot of ammunition after giving up Sauce Gardner to the Colts, after trading Quinnen Williams to the Cowboys. They got so many 1st-round picks in their pocket, it's ridiculous. It's falling out of their pockets. So if they can just hit on all those draft picks and do good in free agency, they got money because they unloaded a lot of contracts. And they could get Tua for cheap. This would be a good move for the New York Jets. I got them at number 3. My number 2 landing spot for Tua Tagovailoa. What about the Las Vegas Raiders? Geno Smith just flat out sucks. Without that system or whatever, Chip Kelly had a lot to do with that. That's why he's fired from the offensive coordinator position. But it just don't look the same. And they're going to move on. They should have drafted Shadir. They did not. I don't know what they're going to do in the draft, but I think that Tua would be a good person to step in right now for Pete Carroll if Pete Carroll doesn't get fired. Even though I think the Raiders are going to really go hard for Robert Saleh, the DC for the 49ers. I would say the Las Vegas Raiders could get Tua and a 2027 second-round pick. And the Dolphins would get a 2027 sixth-round pick in return. That's how I see it. I think that it's a projected $106 million in cap space next year for the Raiders. And releasing Geno Smith would cost them $18.5 million in dead cap space. I think they do that, and they've got enough money in the cap to absorb it. Bang, bang, Niner gang. What's up, IE Niners? How you doing, brother? That's what I would say. The Raiders #2 for Tua Tagovailoa. And the #1 team that could get Tua Tagovailoa, I think it's the Arizona Cardinals. They've got Marvin Harrison Jr. It looks like he is a good receiver after all. He just needs a quarterback, and he needed to get his confidence back. I would say the Dolphins trade Kyler Murray. The Dolphins should trade Arizona. Trade Tua to Arizona for Kyler Murray and a 2027 fifth-round pick. I think that's fair compensation. The Cardinals in return would get Tua and a 2027 fourth-round pick. And this is exactly what I predicted on Tuesday on my last episode. I suggested the Cardinals and Dolphins just swap quarterbacks. The only thing for me is I don't believe in either one of them. And I think Kyler Murray is a much better baseball player than he is a football player. And I'm not hating. That's no shade. That's no shot. That's just what I see. That's just what I see. As much as he runs around and scrambles and stuff, I call him little Speedy Gonzalez. When he's playing my Niners, I still never worry about him. I've never considered him as a threat. Okay, those are the 5 landing spots for Tua Tagovailoa. Now let's get to Joe Burrow real quick. Joe Burrow been talking shit. One minute he said, hey man, I ain't having fun. And if I'm not having fun, why am I doing this? Then he came back and backtracked and said, I wasn't talking about the Bengals. Okay, well maybe it's some personal things you got going on in your life. Then he said, after being asked by the media, could you see yourself leaving the Bengals or not being a Bengal or whatever right now? He said, nah, I can't say that. I can't see that. And he was asked, well, do you think that it would ever happen, you not being a Bengal for the rest of your career? He said, well, you think about a lot of things. Huh? What are you saying, Mr. Burrow? Y'all, Joe Burrow is crying out for help, as I told you on Tuesday's episode. As I told you the other day last week, he wants out of Cincinnati. And some of this is his own blame, though. Some of this is his own damn fault. He shouldn't have told the front office, you better pay Jamar, you better pay T. Higgins, you better pay Trey Hendrickson, or I'm out this bitch. I didn't think they were going to do it, but they actually did it. Where did it get him? He got hurt. He missed most of the season. He came back, tried to get him in there, run the table, make the playoffs. Too little, too late. Defense still sucks. Trey Hendrickson ain't played in a while. They got nothing out of it. They're a great offense that can put up points, make a lot of yards, gain a lot of yards. It's fun to watch, but they're getting nothing from it. What he should have said was do whatever you got to do to protect me so I can stay healthy, because I am on injured reserve more than I'm on the football field these days. 3 straight years with no playoff appearances. Joe Burrow cannot be quarterback and general manager. And shame on the Bengals front office for letting him play general manager. I wouldn't have signed T. Higgins. I would have definitely signed Jamar, but I didn't have to give him $40 million. I think he would have took 35. Just trying to break the damn bank or make the bank bounce, that was ridiculous. That was too much money. But I would have paid Jamar, but I wouldn't have kept T. And if I'm not going to extend Trey Hendrickson, I might as well have traded him and got something for that too. They didn't do it in the offseason, and they didn't do it before the trade deadline. Joe Burrow is going to complain more and more and more. You're going to hear this as we get closer to next season. And it's going to start as soon as the Super Bowl ends. If the Cincinnati Bengals have another bad offseason in free agency and another bad draft, I don't know if Joe Burrow makes it to July, August, training camp. You're going to hear that he doesn't want to be there anymore It's just he doesn't want to strong arm the Bengals. I don't think he wants to Carson Palmer the Bengals. I mean, if you don't let me go, I'm retiring. Palmer had to do that. It's going to get to that point at some point, though, if he continues to just throw mixed signals and, throw a brick and then hide his hand. Just come out and just tell us, man, you want out. And it's either going to happen that way or he's going to retire like Andrew Luck. And I don't know who Joe Burrow is right now. Is he going to be Carson Palmer or is he going to be Andrew Luck? I'm not sure. But if he keeps taking this beating and these hits, I told you last week, he's been hit more than any other quarterback since 2020. He's been sacked more than any other quarterback, and he's been injured, and it shows. Andrew Luck retired because his shoulder was shot. He couldn't throw that football anymore. By the time he got that surgery, there was way too much scar tissue in it. So he couldn't throw a football. This wouldn't be Joe Burrow's issue, but it could just be, man, I'm not happy. I'm not having fun, and I'm getting my ass beat, and I don't want to be a crippled man when I'm old. I'm done. I don't want to fight with the Bengals. I'm just retiring. Megatron style. I'm done. Just demand your trade, Mr. Burrow. Just say you want out, or you may have to take the Carson Palmer approach and just retire until they go ahead and give in and trade your ass. But keep in mind, y'all, Joe Burrow has no more guaranteed money on his contract after this season. This thing could very well happen. And the Bengals could come out better financially than the Dolphins will after moving off of Tua. It's time. I'll tell you teams that Joe Burrow could go to on another episode, but Joe Burrow isn't saying this stuff just to be saying it. He ain't saying this stuff just to write this in his journal. He's saying it because he's crying out for help and he wants teams to start calling the Bengals front office and say, just out of curiosity, what would you give up for Joe Burrow? There's teams, ladies and gentlemen, that don't have a quarterback that want Joe Burrow, need him desperately. But there's teams that have a quarterback that want Joe Burrow. Seriously, if they're not named Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, out of that four horsemen, any other team, and that's 29 other football teams, that would say, yeah, my quarterback cool, but he ain't Joe. There's only 3 teams that probably would not go for Joe Burrow. Even the teams that have a quarterback, they dump his ass right now for the hotter girlfriend. And that hotter girlfriend is Joe Burrow. And I just wanted to say that because all that stuff that he's talking, that's exactly what it is. All right, I talked about the Titans and who should be their next head coach. I talked about Tua and the Dolphins' dilemma and 5 landing spots on where he should go. And I just talked about Joe Burrow briefly and the Cincinnati Bengals. That divorce is coming, and I can't wait. Do I like Brock Purdy? Yes. As of now, I love him. He's been great against bad teams, though. But do you think I wouldn't give up Brock Purdy for Joe Burrow? Seriously? I.E. Niner said Burrow is made of glass. He just needs to get protected, man. Speaking of made of glass, Niner, that's my fellow Niner, so is Ricky Pearsall. Those belts are sick. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I.E. Niners, would you not give up Purdy for Joe Burrow? I would. I don't know if he's made of glass. He does need to stay healthy. But the Bengals have really been giving him a raw deal. They're not protecting him. They don't invest in that offensive line. But they're too busy focused on the perimeter. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, whoever that tight end is, they've got weapons. But that means nothing if you can't win in the trenches. And that's what the Bengals has got to do. Boy, Jamar Chase will really take that hard if Joe Burrow gets traded. It's going to happen at some point. It's going to happen at some point. You think Arizona wouldn't be looking for Joe Burrow? The Jets, the Raiders, every team, I think, other than Buffalo, Baltimore, and Kansas City. I think all other 29 teams would at least make a phone call. Don't tell nobody, but I call. I think they would. All right, my time is up. I'm going to read a few more comments and get up out of here. I want to thank Levi. I want to thank Drew. I want to thank Unreal, King Mikey for y'all joining me on YouTube and everybody here on TikTok. Redeved Group is talking to Steel Dre. Where's Dre at? Stafford will tear his ACL against the Seahawks. Oh, yeah, that's what I forgot to talk about. Thursday Night Football tonight, Prime Video. Rams at Seahawks. Last time Sam Darnold saw the Rams, he was seeing ghosts. Will that happen again tonight? I want to say one thing about Sam Darnold. The past month or so, have you been watching him go through his progressions? Have you been watching how the offense has been kind of stagnant a little bit? It was just like, woo. I told y'all they weren't really beating anybody good, though. He's been struggling going through his progressions. He started to tap his feet a little bit as he's going through them, and every time he taps his feet, it's like, that's when he changes his progression. And I think defensive coordinators are watching film, and the defenders are seeing that, and that's how they're jumping on some of these routes. That's how they're getting more they're starting to put more pressure on him. I think the Seahawks will win tonight, mainly because Devontae Adams probably can't play. He's got a hamstring injury that he has retweaked, and that's going to hurt the Rams because that's going to linger for the rest of the playoffs, rest of the Super Bowl, whatever is going to happen, the rest of the way, that's going to bother him. Without Devontae tonight, I think the Seahawks can come up with a good game plan to just focus on Puka Nacua, try to stuff that running game, and get some pressure on Matt Stafford. Stafford will throw you one every now and then. What's been surprising is that he hasn't done that much this season. I expect the Seahawks to be rocking tonight, though. That 12th man is going to be live. They're going to be lit. And I think that the Seahawks win tonight and get the split. It really doesn't matter to me. I'm a Niner fan. I could care less who wins. It's not really going to help me out because they're playing each other. One team is going to lose, which helps, but one team is going to win. Tonight will be a really good game. I agree. I can't wait. It's always better when it's the NFC, baby. It's always better. Good comment, Ams. Hope I said that right. Thank you for liking the live stream. I encourage you all to like this live stream. Respect from a Cardinals fan. We suck so much. Rams, Hawks, and Niners are scary. Man, that's a good comment, man. This is a Cardinals fan. Now, you tell me this Cardinal fan, Ams, wouldn't go for Joe Burrow right now. You're probably going to get stuck with Tua, but I know you love Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow tomorrow. All right, I got an important call coming through. Business is about to pick up again, so I'm going to have to cut out of here, y'all. I thank y'all for joining me. Ams, Neil F., Spencer Rudd, Casino Ito. Who Niner Nation rooting for, sir? Who Niner Nation rooting for, sir? Huh? I'm rooting for the Niners all the time, all day, every day. Should I start Brock Bowers at tight end or Fannin Jr.? I would always start Brock Bowers. Oh, yeah, one more thing. Are the Packers done now? Are they cooked now that they don't have Micah Parsons? I kind of think they are. Everything that they do to get to the quarterback and their pass rushing ability, it was because they told him to just go get the quarterback. Like a pit bull coming out of a cage, they would just tell him to go, hey, sick him. They can't do that anymore. They struggle getting to Bo Nix after Micah Parsons went down. Christian Watson may be out for a couple of weeks or maybe just a week. He was the reason why the offense finally started to hit its stride. They may still be all right in the playoffs offensively, but losing Parsons, I just don't think they're going to the Super Bowl now. They could have done it, but now, nope, I don't think so. Joe playing under Kyle. Oh, my God. Wouldn't that be great, Spencer Rudd? Wouldn't that be fucking exciting? Entertaining. Talk about T.O. Get your popcorn ready. I'm sorry, Purdy. You know, this is just like the dude who dumped this girl. She's a good girl, but she's hotter. Ooh, she's got it going on from head to toe. She's so fine. I'm sorry. Now, she's probably going to dump our ass. She's probably going to dump that motherfucker immediately. She probably turned out to not be shit. But, man, she's some eye candy. No homo, no Diddy. But that's Joe Burrow. He's that hotter girlfriend. Thank y'all so much, though, for joining me, man. Rolomo, take him. I need him out the AFC North. I got you. Are you a Steeler or a Raven? Or a Brown? Yeah, Casino agrees with me. He said in a heartbeat he'd take Joe Burrow. Stafford wins the Super Bowl, waits for the Hall of Fame. Rams sign Burrows. Dre, you just greedy, man. What's up, Steel Dre? Hope all is well with you. You just a greedy MFer. He wants the Super Bowl. He wants Stafford to then go on into the Hall of Fame, which he will. And then he wants Joe Burrow immediately after that. Now, I told you could get Tua. I got the Rams getting Tua as my number 5 landing spot if Stafford hangs it up after a Super Bowl victory this year. But Burrow? Now, I don't think you could afford Burrow. Man, I'd be jealous as fuck if y'all did that. Damn. Please no, don't do that. Am said you would. Yes, I would. What do you think of our chances on Monday? I think we win. That was a game that I was worried about until they lost their quarterback. Still worried about the defense against Brock Purdy. How's Brock Purdy going to do against the Colts D? But hadn't Sauce Gardner been in and out of the lineup since he got traded to the Colts? I'm not really worried that much. It's going to be rocking in Indy. But if we can't beat a 44-year-old quarterback who doesn't appear to throw the ball any further than 15 yards down the field, yeah, we're not going nowhere. The 49ers are going to have to score 40 points in the playoffs. I admit that. They're going to have to average 40. But I do think we're kind of capable of doing it if Ricky Pearsall is going to be all right. Even without Brandon Ayuk, Trent Williams looks like Trent Williams again. Ricky Pearsall is a number one, but he's made of glass. But if he can stay healthy, CMC is going to get his 80% of the production on the offense. George Kittle looking like George Kittle in 2018 again. This offense looks fine. Jawan Jennings is back healthy. We're getting healthy at the right time on offense, but we got to put up 40 if we're going to go to the Super Bowl. I ain't going to lie to you. 35, 40 points. Because that defense can't stop the run. Chicago runs the ball well. Green Bay runs the ball well. But we can go to Philly right now and beat them. We can. I'm taking the Seahawks tonight on Thursday Night Football. I thank y'all so much. We need the Seahawks to win, unfortunately. I.e. Niners, I think they will. Dave, thank you for the follow. Steel Drake, thank you for the repost. You definitely are a regular viewer. I appreciate it. I encourage more of you to share this live stream. It encourages more viewers to share. Same thing on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button and hit that notification bell because you never know when your favorite unk might pop back up. Until the next time, y'all be safe. I may come back tonight after the game. If not, I'll be back tomorrow with my Week 16 picks. Damn, Week 16. Hey, I also gave you all the entire college football playoff prediction. If you didn't catch that, please go check it out. It's in the TikTok profile. That video was up. You should see the college football thumbnail of the brackets. Same thing on YouTube. Go back and check out that content. I give you every prediction for the game. Tomorrow night, Alabama, Oklahoma. Who you got? I already told you who I got. Tomorrow, 3 games. And I may be in Oxford, Mississippi for Ole Miss and Tulane. We'll see. But y'all checked out that content because I gave you the rundown on every college football playoff game. Until the next time, y'all be safe. Peace.